What's going on, y'all? It's your boy No Cut, and I'm back again with another one. I need you guys to do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon for more videos like this. That being said, let's get into it. So Terence Crawford, he reacts to Canelo Alvarez recent win over Jaime Munguia. Bud reacts to Canelo fight with Munguia, and he says it was a good fight. Munguia showed his heart, but Canelo looked like he carried them. I saw a lot of opportunities if we fight. So pretty much Crawford is saying, he's saying Canelo had opportunities to knock out Jaime Munguia, but he didn't do it. He looked like he carried them, but I don't think he carried them. I just think he just couldn't knock him out. He hit him with everything he could, and he just couldn't knock him out. I think Canelo power is overrated. I really believe that. A lot of people been saying Canelo is this big knockout artist, but he hasn't knocked anybody out in like 3-4 years. Who was the last guy he knocked out? The last knockout I remember was when he became undisputed. When he knocked out Caleb Plant. He hasn't stopped anybody other than Caleb Plant in recent years. Who has he knocked out other than Caleb Plant? He hasn't KO'd anybody other than Caleb Plant, if I'm not mistaken. You know? But, I mean, it is what it is. But Bud is saying he's seen a lot of holes. As I was watching this fight, I'm not even going to lie to y'all, man. I was literally picking up on every single Canelo combinations. I noticed he has a very lazy jab, but I think he throws that lazy jab in order to land his body shots. If you throw a lazy jab like that against Crawford, he'll follow that jab every time with the right hand. That's an easy counter. If I can pick up on something that fast, what do you think Bud's gonna do? Like, the very first round, he was throwing these lazy jabs. Like, Ryan Garcia does the same thing. Ryan might have got that from Canelo. Ryan would throw a lazy jab because he want to throw. He don't want to land the jab. He wants to land the hook. So he'll throw a lazy jab. The jab is just to blind you. The jab is just to blind you to land a different punch. That's what they both do. I noticed that. And I think Ryan probably took that little trick from Canelo. He'll throw a lazy jab to come. I'm talking about Ryan. Ryan would throw a lazy jab to come around with the hook. He'll blind you with the jab and come over with the hook. Canelo would throw a lazy jab and then go down to the body. And he does that a lot. You know, there's other things he was doing in there that I was picking up on, but that lazy jab would get him hurt. We haven't seen Canelo hurt since 147 when he got hurt by Miguel Cotto's brother, Jose Miguel Cotto. But if he does that against a sharpshooter like Crawford, who wouldn't have to cut a lot of weight, he'll be fighting at a walk-around weight. I'm pretty sure Crawford walks around 168, 170. So that's his walk-around weight. You're fighting at your walk-around weight, man. You're at your strongest. A lot of people need to understand that, because when I hear people talk about this fight, they talk about size. They got to understand this dude is not a natural 168-pound fighter. He's not a natural 168-pound fighter. Like, you look at Canelo standing next to like Ryan Garcia's or all these lightweights, and these lightweights look way bigger than him. Now you put those guys against some of the natural 168-pound fighters, you're like, damn, yeah, those guys are 168 pounds. You put them next to Canelo, you be like, there ain't no way Canelo's at 168. There's no way. How the freak is Ryan Garcia bigger than Canelo? Canelo's in a weight class he's not supposed to be in. Crawford next fight against Madrimov, a guy who's like the same size as Canelo Alvarez, who's at 154. That is a solid weight for Canelo, 154. Because Canelo started his career at 140. I think 154, 160. That's a solid weight. So I think 154, 160. So if he came from 140 and he's only 5'8", he shouldn't be at 168, to be honest. It would make sense to be at 168 if he had a better frame. He has shorter reach than Bud. Do you guys know he has a shorter reach than Bud? Bud came from 135. Nello came from 140. Bud has a longer reach. They're the same height. I mean, their frame is about the same. It's just that Nello just looks like he lifts a little bit more weight. And Bud doesn't look like all buff and bodybuilding because he has to cut that weight to make those little weight classes. But I'm pretty sure if he was up there at like 168, he'll be a lot thicker, a lot muscular, because he has some pretty big legs too. Bud has some pretty big calf muscles. And that's where the power comes from your legs. A lot of people don't know the power comes from your legs. Bud, look at Bud's legs. He has some pretty big calf muscles. But yeah, man. Canelo versus Munguia. This fight, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I actually predicted this fight before the fight happened. I don't know if you guys see my post. I did a little prediction on it. I said this is not a 50-50 fight. Some people were saying this is a 50-50 fight. Munguia is this, Munguia is that. I said, no, this is not a 50-50 fight. I called this fight before the fight happened. I told you guys, I said this is not a 50-50 fight. But I didn't think it was going to be a little bit more competitive than what it was. I felt like Canelo, if any fight he wanted to knock a guy out, this could have been the fight. Because this guy only been at 168 2 fights. And in his third fight, he's fighting the undisputed champion at 168. And Canelo couldn't close the show. How you can't close the show? How you can't close the show against a guy? How you can't close the show against a guy who's only been at this weight class for 2 fights? That's a recipe for disaster. This guy has only been at that weight class for 2 fights and you can't close the show? Are you serious? 2 fights. You're supposed to close the show. But, like I said before, maybe Canelo is not as good as people rate him to be. Maybe he's showing his age. That could be a huge possibility as well. He could definitely be showing his age. He's not as good as y'all try to make him out to be. Because if he can't KO a guy who just moved up in weight 2 fights ago, he can't KO a guy. He can't KO a guy who moved up 2 weight classes in Charlo. He can't KO a guy in John Ryder that has been KO at 160 by a much lesser fighter and Nick Blackwell. Then there's a huge possibility he's either slowing down because he's been boxing his whole career. You know, he's been pro since he was 15 years old. So either he's an old 33, because he's 33 years old. He's an old 33 and it's catching up to him. Or he's in a weight class where he doesn't belong. He needs to go back down to 160. Maybe we'll see him get the knockouts in those weight classes. But at 168, he just can't pull the trigger. He just can't close the show. Ever since his reign to the top at 168 to collect the belts in like about 11 months, he hasn't shown how great he is. He's just been giving us mediocre fights. And I mean mediocre fights. These fights are maybe fan pleasing, but we expect more from a guy like Canelo, especially if these guys don't belong in the ring with you. Like John Ryder didn't belong in the ring with Canelo, and he went the distance. Charlo didn't belong in the ring with Canelo, and he went the distance. Munguia wasn't ready. I won't say he don't belong, but he wasn't ready to get in the ring with Canelo in just 2 fights at 168. And he went the distance. So, yeah, guys, it's a bad look on Canelo's part that he isn't able to show us that extra gear to be able to close the show against these guys. But this is what Shakur Stevenson had to say. Hell of a fighter Canelo is. Still think Bud beats him, though. I agree with Shakur 100%. This Canelo that's been fighting and giving us these mediocre performances, if that Canelo shows up against Bud, he loses 100%. And I don't want to say that because I don't want to take credit from the win if the fight does happen. I don't want to take credit away from Crawford. I don't want to do that and say, man, Crawford beat a Canelo that was slowing down. But we got to understand, Crawford is the older man. Canelo is the younger man by 3 years. 3 years. Canelo is 3 years younger than Crawford. Right? He's the younger man. 3 years younger than Crawford. He's considered a bigger man in a bigger weight class than Crawford. So even if I said Canelo's slowing down, he still have a lot of advantages. He still have a lot of advantages to win that fight against Bud, but I don't see him beating Bud. I think Bud beats Canelo Alvarez either via late TKO or unanimous decision. I don't see Canelo Alvarez beating Terence Crawford if he can't knock him out. With these mediocre performances from Canelo, if I was Canelo, I would stay as far away from Terence Crawford as possible. But what do you guys think about what Bud had to say about Canelo kind of carrying Munguia? My opinion, I don't think he carried him. I just don't think he's the biggest puncher in the world like people make him out to be. But anyway, it's your boy No Credit, and I'm out. You guys let me know. Do y'all ever think Canelo would grow some cojones and get in the ring with a guy like Bud? Or he's going to keep avoiding that fight? We know Bud has a fight coming up in August. Bud's going to show us how to close the show against Madrimov. I feel bad for Madrimov. Whenever Crawford fights a guy, the guy has to be bigger than him in height, in reach, everything, for him to have some type of a chance. But Madrimov, even though he's fighting at 154, he looks like the smaller man versus Bud. So this is a bad sign. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is a bad sign. So that means Madrimov is definitely going to sleep. And I mean, like, it's going to be a beating. Like, he's getting knocked out cold when he gets in the ring with Bud. Because Bud is not at a huge disadvantage except that he's moving up 7 pounds. Other than that, Madrimov, they look like they fight in the same weight class. He's in a lot of trouble. But anyway, it's your boy No Credit, and I'm out.
Bussin'.
Do you know what that means?
No.
Oh, these tacos are bussin'.
Huh?
How about drip?
Drip? No.
Like this outfit. Drip?
You think it's drip?
Do you?
This is drip.
That's drip. Rent free. No.
No.
It's like when someone lives in your head. Like Benavides mentions your name all the time. You live rent free in Benavides' head.
Oh, God, yeah. Every night.
Goat.
Gold. Cap is gold.
Greatest.
Me, right?
How about Cap?
I hear that fucking word.
He's lie. Like Oscar was capping yesterday. He
Always cap.
Last one, bet.
Bet.
You ever hear this one?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, bet.
Yo, bet.
Yeah.
Step onto the scale, welcome them as they make their way on the scale. 12 rounds of boxing.